All right, fees. I'm going to go through the fees to ensure everyone in the room understands our fee breakdown. There are some persons who may be among us who haven't registered as yet because we invited prospective students as well. All right. Our fees, registration fees, $2,500. We have 3 sponsors. Why do we have 3 sponsors? The more sponsors we partner with, the more jobs we can offer, the more students we can take on the program. Simple reason, right? Our 3 sponsors are Spirit, CCI, and CHI. Program offers 2 options. Listen closely. First option, you can do the program as a job assist student. Job assist means that you are being placed by SWAT in a job and we are sourcing housing for you. However, even though we're sourcing housing for you, you still have to pay your rent and other accommodations when you go there. Some students think that when we source the housing, we also cover the cost. All right? For self-place is what Sushania spoke about. You find your own job, you find your own housing. Most students who do self-place are students who have relatives or friends who live overseas. I have a brother in Philly. I know that my brother in Philly can get maybe a job from a restaurant or somewhere in the mall if he lives close to a mall. So I call up Paul. I say, Paul, heard some information about a program over by UWI, and I'd love to get involved. Can you line up a work for me? Maybe even where Paul works, I can work. Not every job a J1 student is allowed to do, so make sure when you're doing self-placement, you find out from us what are the prohibited jobs so that you don't find yourself working in a hospital which you're not allowed to do. You don't find yourself getting a babysitting job which you're not allowed to do. You don't find yourself doing housekeeping at a man's yard which you're not allowed to do. Right? So you have to ensure that whatever job you're sourcing is within the requirements of what you are allowed to do. I'm not going to say that there's no occasion in which you get back your full program fee, but it's on a case-by-case basis. For example, if you are cancelled for GPA below 2.0 and you weren't placed in a job, you weren't pre-placed in a job, you weren't interviewed for a job, then if you look over there, it says $0 in terms of fees deducted. But let's say, for example, in January when you request your permit, your transcript, and we say January month end because by then we're assuming that your grades for this semester would be posted. Now, if you were pre-placed or shortlisted for a job and then you cancel for whatever reason, of course, there's going to be a fee deducted. And how much is it? 100. Let's say, for example, you were confirmed in a job. So the job fair happened, they loved you in the interview, you smiled a lot, you were bubbly, excellent person for the job, and then you cancel. How much fee is deducted? 250. Me know the brighten so talk up, man. Right? 250 because you've been placed in a job. But what if you were just interviewed by the sponsor and you're still awaiting confirmation of placement? How much do you lose? 100. All right? Let's say, for example, your visa was denied. How much do you lose? All right. Why do I have to lose all of $400? The reason why you lose $400 is because by the time you go to the embassy, we would have already paid for your work permit, because remember, you can't go to the embassy without a permit. And the students who've done the program before will attest to that. And the permit accounts for most of your program fee. We are also required to cover your insurance. Insurance is non-refundable if a student does not get the visa. We can't petition it. That is just how it is. And that is why we cannot, when a student doesn't get through for the visa and they come to the office crying and they're saying their mother now wants their money, first thing we're going to do is say that, well, you signed a contract, this is the amount you're entitled to, and in the contract it also states that refunds aren't paid out until the end of the season. End of the season, miss? You don't say I credit you then, my mother go borrow the money, so when me go home, we tell her. All right? In the first place, mommy shouldn't have borrowed from the credit union, because guess what? There's no guarantee as to how much money you're going to make back from the program, and you should not be using the program as what? Money. Right. It's a cultural exchange program. So if you know you cannot afford it, we're not encouraging anyone to put their parents in debt, and there's no guarantee that you can make back this money to pay back the loan. All right, another good thing with SWAT is that we have a 24-hour access, which is why most students are confident in our program. We're not saying issues don't arise, but when issues arise, they need to get someone on the other end of the line. So when you go over there, communication don't end there. And one of the things we've instituted for this year, because we see where it's needed, is that students will have to not only check in with their overseas sponsor once per month, but you have to do it with SWAT as well. What we find, students, when they go over there, I don't know if it's because in a happy zone of reach, some of them don't call on the parents. Parents calling our phone to ask us if we hear from them child. Right? And then when I make the parents decide them can't sleep. I've gotten phone calls 11 o'clock in the night. Them can't sleep. It's the first time them daughter traveling on the program, and she leave from 5 o'clock this morning. It's 2 flights she went take. I don't hear nothing from her. It's 11 o'clock now. Can you tell me where is my daughter and what happened to her? Poor me can't tell them anything because the daughter hasn't contacted us either. Right? So communication is very important. You need to contact your parents, but you also need to keep the line of communication with SWAT open. Right? So for this year, it's a new thing. It's going to be mandatory. Once every month, you have to check in with SWAT via email. You have an online account now, so you can do it through that medium. And you have to tell us what is happening with your housing. Is your housing good? Is it bad? What can we do to help? So it's really to help you, right? Students, I'm asking you, please make sure you stick to that requirement. All right, it's important for program fee payments. If you follow the deadlines and stick to the deadlines, you'll be okay. You have students who don't pay on time and they still expect to be the first in the first batch to get a work permit. I don't know how that math works, but if you don't stick to your deadline, you're going to be affected with your paperwork. All right, remember I had spoken about you having to submit your transcript. Basically, this slide is speaking to that. And if your GPA falls below 2.0, you will be canceled from our program. Even if it's 1.99, you're still going to be canceled. Reason being, the embassy, they kind of have a zero tolerance approach when it comes to approving students who aren't performing. And I'm in complete support of that. I've seen where students come in with a 0.3 GPA and they want to do the program. So I'm wondering, what are they really doing at school? I want to find it funny. Every year, students laugh, and come January, some of those same students come in my office begging me to still allow them to go on the program. All right? Let it be a lesson. August is when we start doing refund payments, all right? Not before. We'll explain the refund process to you in terms of where you can pay it, but one crucial thing to note is that we don't pay to any and every account. Right, so it's JN, BNS, or NCB, but if you want it in US, it has to be a JN US account. And if you want check, let's say for example, you prefer to be paid by check, we're willing to do the check payment, but with check preparation, it also comes with an added cost. That cost will be passed on to you. So it's up to you, but these are other options. We're going to be having another seminar in March, and the reason why I'm skipping over some of these slides is because those things will be discussed at that seminar. Because we'll basically at that seminar be preparing you for embassy as well as for departure. Right? So there are certain things I don't need to go into detail with. All right, very important. I think respect goes a long way, and a lot of times when you have issues, it's how you approach it that is going to determine what the outcome of that issue is going to be. You agree? So if I come to the office, Mark touched on it a little, I'm having an issue, based on how you approach the person who is at the front, that already is directing how that conversation is going to go with that student. And I've had unpleasant experiences with students before. I don't need you to know who I am, right? Even if I wasn't the managing director of the company and I was the janitor, I still expect that if I'm in the office, you're going to show me respect and I show you respect. And sometimes students come into the office, they come with their attitude, they don't know how to speak properly, and they don't understand that when they're talking, they're being evaluated. It's a small office. So when you're at the front of the office, you're not seeing me, but I'm hearing you. And a lot of times I'm listening to the conversation students are having, and sometimes I have to push my head out and I have to intervene. And sometimes I have to make a split decision at that point whether or not I want the student to continue on our program. Because it is within our rights to cancel you if we think that you're not a good representation for the program. I do it every year and I will continue. Please, when you come to the office, remember where you are. Remember that you need, and you're a university student. You understand? Not a lot of students get this opportunity to come to college. So I'm going to ask you, please, remember to, carry yourself in a way where, persons will be impressed with how you, speak and so forth, right? All right. This year, we had 1 and 2 issues, right? Where students, all right, say for example, okay, we had an issue where a student had sex with a minor, right? So he was, there was a charge for rape, he had to go through the court system and so forth. A lot of times you guys don't understand that when you commit these things and you come back, even though the agency you went up with may tell you, no, we're not going to take you back on the program, you think it's an easy one to just go to Joyce or go to another agency. What we have been doing as agencies, because we actually form a union amongst ourselves, is we have blacklisted students. So if for this summer we have 5 students who did not uphold the terms and agreements of the program, we're going to share your names with other agencies. And that is a part of our contract that you're asked to sign to. Because if you're not a good example for not just the program, but for our country, you don't need to be going on the program through any other agency. Right? So please I'm putting it out there. It's a part of our contract. Sometimes students don't pay attention to detail, but this is one of our conditions. Because we're expecting that you're not one of those bad apples that is coming on SWAT. I understand I cannot participate in the work and travel program if I become pregnant or is diagnosed with an illness that may require surgery. I'm going to stop there. You would think that it's pretty obvious that if you're pregnant, you can't do the program, right? Is that obvious? Is that a fair assumption I should have? We had an experience where a student was pregnant. Her pregnancy was a high-risk pregnancy. She had to spend, you have to say when she went over there, she was bedridden, right? High-risk pregnancy. And the student knew prior to traveling on the program that she had gotten pregnant. Did not relay that information to us, right? And she went over there, and it's when she was in the hospital, we got an email. It was an email first, and then we followed up with a Skype. We got an email from the sponsor saying that, have you guys been in touch with this student or any member of our family because the student is in the hospital? No. Immediately, there are thousands of things come to my mind because I'm wondering, okay, at what point did this person know that they got pregnant? Is it when they went over there? This case, the student knew from before, right? Students, females, because this is for females, I'm asking you, please. I don't know how else to say it, but situations happen. You're all adults. I'm not here to rebuke anyone. But if you are pregnant, you can't do the program. Most of the jobs that we hire students for are standing jobs. You're doing cashiering, you're working over a hot grill. Those aren't conditions for a pregnant person to be in, especially if it's a high-risk pregnancy. You being a rice operator in the sun all day for 8 hours, only taking a 1-hour break, isn't the condition that we want a pregnant person to be going through. So please, without going too far into it, if situation happen and you get pregnant, let us know. You definitely will be canceled from the program, right? And based on how far in the program you are, we'll do the refunds based on the sheet that we showed you. But it is in your best interest, do not still insist on going on the program and putting your life at risk. All right? All right, and right here, as I said, we share information with different agencies if you've been blacklisted because you did something wrong on the program. We're also we're licensed by the Ministry of Labor, and we have to have meetings, regular meetings with them. So of course this information is shared with them as well. And we also have to work with the schools when we're doing promotions. So the schools that we're a part of where we promote, we also let them know, look here, you had 3 students who went on the program this summer and this is what they did. All right? All right, and finally, I want to make this my final comment. I'm leaving the rest of it to you to read. This is very important. Students, whatever your experience is, whatever it is, good, bad, ugly, I'm going to ask you, do not come back, or while you're over there, you're posting comments on Facebook, you're putting up all sorts of things to bring disrepute to the company, to the program, to your country, because at the end of the day, you can be found with all sorts of legal charges. You understand? Don't be so free to just go on and be posting things, because you can actually be damaging someone else's reputation when you do it. And if you're going to post your experience about the program, ensure that it's an honest post you're putting. So don't just put the negatives out there and not actually what is really the truth about it. All right? Because you will find yourself in a lot of hot water. Be very careful. Think before you act. All right, and that is where I'm going to end it. So all of these forms are available online on your online account. And it's the program policy addendum, clarity contract, and other forms. So you just go through, read them. And as I said, all of these conditions I went through, they're printed and they're available outside. But we're only giving them to persons who paid their security deposit, because we need those to be signed and for you to start bringing them in now so that we can start filing your paperwork. But for those who just registered alone, it's available on your in your online account. All right? Save your questions and I'm going to take them shortly.